What we do here at Appenzeller Training Systems, right, when we design a training program, it's not that day. And that's a big mistake I see, throughout the industry, throughout different coaches and different athletes, just that one day program. This is the workout of the day or the workout of the hour, right? For us, it's a complete program, right? It's over the course of weeks, sometimes even months from a generalized standpoint, and really trying to make sure the athlete is most ready when the time counts, right? When he has to step out on the field, or when he has to show up for tryouts or a pro day or a showcase or something to that effect, we want our guys to be ready. And one of the pieces of an overall plan or an overarching plan is this idea of a deload week, right? So what is a deload week? A deload week is essentially a week where we use less intensity and or less total volume in terms of our training modalities in order to allow the body to recover, right? We have what's called a stimulus, adaptation, and recovery curve that kind of governs our deload week and ultimately governs how much adaptation or how much gains, our athletes get from their training. Now, of course, the stimulus is the workouts. It's the training, it's the lifting, it's the sprinting, it's the dynamics, it's the ballistics, it's the med ball throwing, it's all of those things, right? But our adaptation really occurs during our recovery phase of that curve. And if we can, let's put a stimulus, adaptation, recovery curve like here, where you can actually see where, yes, we can continually stimulate the athlete. We can continue to load him up or to have him sprint or whatever the case may be. But if we don't allow the time to recover via deload weeks, via off days, via modalities, then we will never truly get the adaptation that we're looking for to the highest effect of that adaptation. So really, a deload week is a time to recover, to focus on movement quality, to focus on intention, and really allow the body to take one step back in order to take 3 steps forward. Now, most of the time during a deload week, we're gonna do the same exercises that we just worked on for the last 3 weeks or so. We normally deload every 4th week, okay? And when we do that, we don't want to introduce essentially new stimulus because that could cause soreness and again kind of throw a wrench into our stimulus adaptation recovery curve. So we want to keep those same exercises, that same stimulus from before with less intensity, less volume. Some of the other things though that we'll include are a much more targeted mobility approach and a much more targeted approach to really controlling of joint positions and controlling of joint articulations. So some of the things you might see like a hip car, we're going to include those in every warm-up just about, but we might not do it with as much intention or with as much kind of external cueing like with the rack and hugging the rack or something like that on a day-to-day basis. And because of that, the athletes probably won't bring as much intention to it on a day-to-day basis. Whereas now we have, a devoted time and a devoted session to really work on that quality, to control the joint articulation, to control the actual hip, and to work through range of motion there. Okay, so that's like a wall. That's again a rack hip car, something we might use. Something else like a shin box get up, right, where we're doing 90-90 hip stretches and flows all the time. Now we're going to take the time to not only work through that hip external rotation, but we're also going to extend the hip in external rotation, which is, again, in isolation, which is something that we might not get as much time to do or might not be able to do with as much intentionality at as low of a load. And now, again, we have some devoted time and we can do that and really spend some time improving the athlete's movement capacity, his movement quality, and his control of his actual joints. And that's another really cool thing we can add into a deload week to make it new, to make it stimulating mentally, psychologically, but not so much stimulating neurally or actually on the muscles.
So the deload week is really just like wrapping up a bunch of weeks of hard training with more like relaxed sets and stuff that's easier on the body. It's definitely helped me a lot after going through like multiple weeks of heavy lifting. Just feels good to maybe like take the wear and tear off. So the deload week is amazing. Afterwards, at the end of the week, you feel like a whole new person. After like 5 hard weeks of training in a row, you need a week to recover. Like before ATS, I never heard of a deload week. Like I would just keep on going, but after that, it's just game changing once you figure out what it is. Lower sets, but the same weight. So like you still get your work in, but you're not like totally sore afterwards. You feel relaxed and like rejuvenated, like a new person afterwards.
Deload week is basically sets that are lowered and like weight that's lowered. So it kind of helps your body recover in like ways that if you just heavy lift like all the time, it wouldn't help. And I think it's benefiting my training because if you just lift heavy like all the time, you'll be sore and you don't really have that time to recover. But deload week every once in a while, it just helps your body. Bird out.
Fix that, Bird.